Today on The State of Us, how you pay for stuff matters. The Wall Street Journal reports that buyers have more ways to pay for things than ever before. Apple Pay, Venmo, credit cards, and dozens of other options. What you choose might matter as much as the purchase itself. Each of the different payment methods provides different conveniences, perks, and protections from fraud. Credit cards have long been the default option of choice, but higher interest rates have now raised the cost of carrying a credit card balance. Welcome to The State of Us. I'm your host, Justin T. Weller, joined today by the one and only, your friendly redneck liberal and the cash-loving senior historian here at True Chat, Mr. Lance Jackson.
I was just going to make the statement. This is going to be an interesting show for me, but the article is extremely biased against yours truly because none of the categories in the article mention cash money.
Well, I mean, I think that pretty much tells us everything we need to know, right?
I mean, you talk about saying there's no fraud in cash money.
Oh, there's no fraud in cash money. Oh, okay. Well, we're gonna have to get into that.
Well, the article's not doesn't address it. So
the article doesn't say so. It must be fraud free because it's not listed in there.
I can make that claim because there's no study in the Wall Street Journal. And we're not talking about counterfeit bills.
So let's turn to our producer here before we get going.
Money? Okay.
He's wide awake today, and he is.
You mean who just paid $200 for a fob?
That's right.
To open his car door because he's too lazy to use the key that came with it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So
that's a wise use of money.
When you go, Levi, to pick up this fob, which may or may not be when we're done recording because you may or may not be out of time. So
even though you could have done it before we.
Right. But
before
all of that aside, at whatever point
Relevancy.
you find time in your schedule to go get said fob and you have to pay for it, how will you pay for it?
Cash.
Mm-hmm. As in like actual like paper.
Physical cash. I know. Surprise,
now,
right?
Why?
Gen Z are using cash. Because I pulled it out of my ATM a couple weeks ago. I was preparing ahead.
Why did you pull it out of your ATM instead of using a debit card?
Well, because debit card, I mostly use my debit card for everyday purchases. Cash, I usually set aside and save for different things.
Yeah. So your day-to-day stuff is your debit card.
Usually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, do you use, what if you need to get money to a friend? How do you usually handle that?
The same way, Cash App.
That's a very important, that may be the single most important component of the entire show. And you just gave Lance a small aneurysm because he called Cash App the same thing as cash. But excellent point, right? Of that is exactly how Gen Z thinks of it.
I was just getting ready to praise him for setting aside cash.
I know. And then he shot himself in the foot.
For big purchases.
Cash App, pretty much the same thing. So, but you use Cash App if you get money to friends.
Yeah.
Okay. That works well for you?
Yeah, sure does.
That's what they all use?
That's what everybody uses.
Oh, that's what everybody uses? That ubiquitous. You use that too, right, Lance? You got a Cash App.
Don't even know what it is.
Oh, okay. Well, how about then, just so that we're not being presumptuous of our audience, Levi, since everybody uses it, but evidently at least one person of these three people don't use it. What is Cash App?
Cash App is a method of payment, so you will. You can get a card for it, or you can just send it directly to your friends, linked through your bank accounts. You put your bank account in Cash App, and it's automatically linked. So anybody that wants to send money to you or vice versa, you get it either in 3 to 4 business days, whatever, or 25-cent fee if you want it instantly. So
what stops somebody from just cleaning out your bank account?
Well, you have to approve requests. So like, Levi, let's say Levi owes me $20, you know, one of two things could happen. He could send to me $20 and I would get a notification on my phone and then I could choose to accept or reject. So I'm not forced to take the money. So then I accept it, then I've got the money. Or if I'm getting tired of Levi forgetting that he owes me $20, I can go on to Cash App and send him a request and say, hey, you owe me $20. And then he gets a notification on his phone and says, do you want to pay this $20? And if so, how? That's the idea. So the person on either end never actually gets access to the other person's financial information.
And then do you have to take your Cash App money and put it in your debit card?
Cash App money and put it in your debit card. Well, it depends.
Where does your Cash App money go?
It depends on how you have it set up. So I don't use Cash App. I use Venmo, but it's the same principle. And that's what this one talks about. So these are referred to, this is an excellent point to bring in the component from the article, peer-to-peer payment apps. That's what these are. Apps such as Venmo, cashapp, and Zelle were designed to help people send money to friends and family, but they're now used in more settings. They move money more quickly than credit card payments because instead of waiting on banks to approve the transaction, the payment is authorized once the sender hits submit. It is almost impossible to get money back once it has been sent. These payment methods aren't regulated as heavily as credit cards, so users might still be on the hook for unauthorized payments if a swindler gets control of their accounts. Quote, use it to pay people you know and trust, said Megan Fitland, a Zelle spokeswoman. So she's somebody that works for Zelle, which is one of these peer-to-peer apps. Zelle is the big banks version of peer-to-peer payments. So Chase Bank is a participant, Fifth Third Bank. These big banks have collaboratively worked to provide Zelle as a free transfer between places that's generally speaking instantaneous.
Does it take 4 days for me to get access to it though? Like Levi said?
It depends. So say that I have Chase Bank and somebody else has something that's in the Zelle network, right? So we're using Zelle. If I send money through Zelle to the other person that also has Zelle, it's immediate, regardless of where they are in the world or what I'm sending or how much, or they got the money, it's done. Now, if you got somebody, say at Right Pat Credit Union, which is this little credit union here locally, folks, Levi's raising his hand, they're not a Zelle participant. So they can use Zelle, but now you're talking about a more traditional bank transfer time of like, hey, you got the money, but it won't be in if you choose to put it in your account, it'll take 2 to 3 business days to transfer into your account. Now it's in your Zelle and you could send it to somebody else immediately, but you have to use it from Zelle until it moves into your account. So it depends on how it's linked and how it's set up. And like Levi said, you have an instant option. So if you're willing to pay a small fee, you can have it immediately.
Okay.
So there's your peer-to-peer.
Yeah, that will happen for me.
Don't your daughters use that?
I'm sure they use something like that, but they don't with me.
Well, you don't need it.
They know it doesn't work. So
you don't need to use it because you can just send money through the mail or
they probably right. You're exactly right.
That'll take 3 to 5 business days.
Or when I see people in person,
as long as they don't lose it,
and then there's no fee or there's no nothing, right? And I will get one of those apps after I get a new phone. How about that? That'll be about. I'll look into these.
Well, I heard that you getting a new phone was on the docket. Like that was supposed to be happening months ago.
Well, it depends on what new is.
But the boss didn't.
No, it depends on what new is.
Didn't.
The boss might get a new phone.
Right.
And I might.
Well, and then you get
I get their
hand down.
Yeah, i6 or whatever.
iPhone 6?
Yeah, I think it's a 6.
Okay.
Because people laugh at her because hers is so old.
Right.
But that'll be my new phone.
Yes.
Right.
Well, it'll be newer and more advanced than what you have.
Right. Maybe.
Well, it was probably manufactured longer ago, but will be more advanced than what you currently carry.
Right. But I may not take it.
But I may not.
I may just keep what I have.
Yes.
Because
it's the gamble of the century, folks. We should have I don't know that we can legally organize that, but we should have a pool and people could put money on. Of course, then Lance will do whichever one the pool, is opposite of. So just to prove the side that bet the wrong way. So what about digital wallets? Digital wallets such as PayPal or Apple Pay are among the safest and easiest ways to pay online. All of the protections and benefits associated with the underlying card are still in effect for wallet transactions. So it's best to connect these wallets to a credit card directly to maximize your protection. If a digital wallet gives you the option to link a bank account directly, you should read the policy agreement to make sure you understand what is protected. Wallets also offer additional layers of security through encryption and biometric verification, and many don't share sensitive financial data, such as your 16 card number, with individual merchants. You ever use a debit card when you have to go out somewhere?
No.
Never.
No. Don't
Never.
have one.
What about credit card?
Yes, I have one.
Okay. And you ever have to use that?
I don't.
Does your wife ever use a credit or debit card?
Yes. Not debit card.
Okay, credit card, though.
Credit card. We don't own a debit card.
So if you ever use...
We don't. Did you hear me?
I did.
We don't.
I know, you don't have a debit card.
We don't have a debit card in our house, on our personage.
Yes.
There is not one anywhere to be found.
Yes.
We've been offered one with our bank accounts.
Sure.
We do not take them.
Yes.
There's no such thing.
They would like to give you one.
As a debit card.
But you say, no, get that away from me. Did you see the producers? Could you make that expression again? It was a little more disgusted than that the first time. But
that's okay.
There was like a little revulsion. It was like
you just keep saying, well, do you ever know?
That's what I use every day, a debit card.
I'm trying to make, exactly. I know. Oh, card. Oh, I have no money. But see, when I pull out this green stuff and I pay somebody something, then I look and it's like, crap, I ain't got no more money. I can't spend. But if you've got these things on your phone and you just flash your phone, before you know it, this is all gone and everything else is gone and you don't even know it. But I can all day long check and see how much money I have to get through the rest of the week until I get paid again. And I can make instantaneous decisions based on how much I got in my pocket.
He pulled that right out of his pocket, too. It didn't even come out of a wallet or anything.
Years of practice. No, I'm not in a wallet because people will pickpocket. They can't pickpocket as easily in the front.
You're hurting the producer's brain. We got more to talk about. Keep it here on The State of Us. We'll be right back. So here's the thing that I was getting at the end of the last segment. Digital wallets. The reason that they are safer, that's right, safer than using a credit card or debit card on its own, the primary reason is part of what they identified right here. When you use a digital wallet, the digital wallet generates a new card number to mask your actual card number. This means that when you do certain transactions, especially with online, like when you buy something online where you don't have the option to pull out your green cash money and you have to use a card if you're going to buy from this online store, rather than give that online store your actual number, the digital wallet can generate a one-time number that can only and will ever be good for one usage. Now, it'll still charge through your credit card just like it always has, but what happens is the digital wallet is acting as an intermediary encryption service. So it sends out, and that card number is used, that one-time use number, which the app verifies and then is allowed to charge your card. If somebody ever tries to use that number again, so like if this online retailer gets hacked, that number's worthless because it can never again be used to process a transaction.
That sounds like a pretty good deal.
Yeah. And generally speaking, the digital wallets are free. They don't come with any fees. They're just features that are built into, like, for example, Samsung Pay and Apple Pay are both part of that. Google Pay, those are all versions of digital wallets. And of course, there are other ones out there, but those are all types. So the question to our producer is, do you use a digital wallet?
No.
No.
How do they get money?
How do they make money by doing it?
No, it's a digital wallet.
Yeah. So
where are they getting my money from?
So you link your existing credit cards or debit cards.
Oh.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And you have to verify that you own them, which takes you through a verification process. You only do that one time. And then in order to use them, like on my phone, I have a digital wallet set up. So there's this little, I'm showing everybody here, there's this little bar and I swipe up and you can see that a card has popped up now, right? So there are different cards here, and I could choose whichever one I'm wanting to use. So I want to use this one. And then you can see that it's got this little fingerprint looking icon here. This is useless to anybody. There's no card number here. There's nothing that they could do with this. The only way that this becomes active for payment is if I place my thumb there and it verifies that that is in fact me. And then for a limited duration, usually it's about 15 seconds, it will send out a near field communication, which covers a span about this big. I'm showing everybody with my hands, very small area, so that if you're in range of a device that's requesting the information, you can send the information to that device. So I explained very basic there how it works, but those are my real cards, right, that I was just showing you that are linked to this wallet. And there are cards that physically exist that I have, some of which are at home, some of which are in my actual wallet. But any place that accepts mobile payments, you can pay with these. And when I do that, I'm not actually sharing the real card number. I'm sharing it's a phantom number, that gives you an additional layer of protection. Same thing of you could say, well, what happens if somebody intercepts that wireless communication? Now haven't they gotten your card information? Well, if I took out my physical card and had done that, there's all this stuff out there about people that have scanners that, if they're standing near you in line, you don't even have to take out your card. They could scan it in your wallet,
right.
Potentially.
I've seen that.
Potentially,
yes.
Which is scary, obviously. That's not possible with this, because if they scanned when it was being transmitted, because they can't scan anything when it's not being transmitted, but when it's being transmitted, they're getting that phantom number. So it doesn't do them a lick of good, because that number is worthless to them because it's not the actual card identification information. So there's your pitch of all of these digital payment options. If you're going to use something, probably the most dangerous to use is peer-to-peer payment if you're paying somebody you don't know or
Sure.
that you don't do business with. So if you run into a business where just pay me with Venmo, if you trust the business, then that's probably okay. But be very careful about doing that if it's a place that you don't travel to regularly, because again, a lot of those liability protections, like Levi pointed out, you've linked a bank account with your Venmo or with your Cash App, not a credit or debit card. And credit or debit cards, which we're talking about, have fraud protection, right? Most of the time you have zero liability if somebody fraudulently tries to use your money.
Right.
Bank accounts don't always carry that, and neither do debit cards. So if you have linked a debit card directly, or you're using a debit card to pay on an ongoing basis, you need to check with your bank, but you've opened yourself up to quite a bit of liability. Much safer, I know there's some terrible irony in that, to use a credit card than it is to use a debit card from a fraud standpoint. What do you think, Levi? What do you make of all this? You're our digital nomad. You going to start using a digital wallet? What type of phone you got over there?
I got a Motorola.
Okay. Well, you could use Google Pay.
I could, yeah.
What keeps you from doing that?
I just haven't ever considered it before, I guess.
Oh, okay.
No. Maybe it's something I should try out.
Maybe so. See how it works. Now, the one big thing, obviously, with the digital wallet is you can't use it everywhere. It has to be places that are accepting that, which increasingly more and more places do. But there's obviously lots of places that do not, and you don't always have that option when you're paying online. Depending on the merchant, they may or may not accept the digital wallet. So there is that downside.
So what are people using when they're standing in front of me or driving through in front of me, and they go to the pay window and they just stick their phone out the window?
Good question. So this is like a pseudo digital wallet. So a lot of fast food places have their own app now, right? So where do you like to go in town? If line's no object and you can count on great service, what's your favorite fast food?
Well, I'd have to go Burger King.
Okay, so you're going to Burger King.
I know they're on the bottom of the scale, but again, I'm always for the underdog. But
right,
that's why I always went there during lunch when I taught school, because nobody went to Burger King, so I could sit in quiet.
In this highly fictional scenario where Lance has a smartphone, because his phone wouldn't help in this situation.
I'll never have one, right?
So he has his smartphone and he has his Burger King app, and he pulls up,
which I'd never get,
and he says, "I'm going to pay."
Right.
And so he says, from the Burger King app, I'm going to pay. Usually what's happening is the app has generated a QR code, right? Which is like a form of a barcode. That's a one-time use thing. And you're showing it to them. They're scanning it. And that's communicating with their system to allow the payment to take place. But again, that QR code is only good for a one-time thing. So in the app, you set up payment information, and generally the QR code is going to do two things at once. It's going to record your loyalty points and let you utilize any coupons that you have digitally. See, now we're talking Lance's language, coupons. So now you can get the better deal that's digital only, and pay all at once. So it's, I want to use my coupons and pay, scan this, bam, you got your discount. There's no fumbling with the coupon and whether or not you remembered it because it was already in there, and you paid all at once, and you didn't release any sensitive personal information, because if somebody got a copy of that QR code after that transaction, it's worthless.
And while using the coupon and paying for it, you probably gain some points.
And you probably gain some points that are going to help you get a discount in the future. Other than those people going through that line with that darn cash, and they're not getting none of that stuff. So
I know, because they quit sending me coupons.
Yeah, they're digital now. They send them to you just digitally. Lance was very upset the other day. He came in to tell me that Kroger was stopping their weekly ad right in the paper. They don't do, well, they still do a weekly ad, but it's digital only. You got to be on the app. Yep.
And you have to have a certain powerful phone to be able to get to the app.
Well, you have to have a 21st century phone.
Mm-hmm.
No flip phones permitted.
Right. Guess I'll go to Aldi's.
Yeah. Are they going to give you the paper coupons?
I don't know. I'll have to find out.
Okay. Because see, I think that what Kroger is probably counting on is that, hey, who cares if they don't download the app and get the coupons? Because then they can just not use the coupons and we get more money from them.
Or not shop there.
But they're probably counting on that's a low percentage.
Then they lose all my business.
Of people. Because the change of going to someplace else would be quite a shock. Levi, you been to Aldi's yet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not in Urbana.
Oh, okay. Well, boo.
Not here.
Okay. Whatever. Anyway, so you're going to start using a digital wallet, right, Levi?
Maybe.
What keeps you from doing it? What's your hesitation?
It cuts into his sleep.
Trust.
It sounds like I don't want one at all, but it sounds to me like the digital wallet is safer than what you're using.
Well, anything we use digitally, there's always a chance.
Yeah, exactly. But the wallet aspect has better protection than what you're using currently.
Well, what the heck? I'm trusting it with my Cash App, so why wouldn't I with my Google Pay or anything like that? So.
All right, folks, there's more to talk about. Keep it here on The State of Us, and we'll be right back for Lance to blow a gasket. I believe the way that we ended the last segment was with a quote from our producer of, well, I guess I'm already trusting them, so why not trust them with this too?
No,
what's your
but you explain, right? I'm learning about this stuff because I use the green stuff, right? I mean, I use cash, but
we could save a lot of money if we got rid of cash.
But the way I don't even get there, you and your moral.
Well, you knew that was coming.
With
you knew it was coming.
With your
save a lot of money
solar panels and all this other stuff and whatever. Okay,
I'm just talking about cold hard cash. We can save money.
When you need something, you
cash.
come to me. So that's all I know. When you're in a fix, you always come to me, and I do it the old-fashioned way. So the old-fashioned way must have all the answers. That's all I'm laying down. Okay, you can do all the things that you want, but when you're in trouble, you come to me, and I do everything the old-fashioned way. So it must be that when the bottom line is. There are certain things that can only get done the way I do them, so I just do everything that way.
Well, shouldn't we go back to all coins if we're going to do things really the old-fashioned way?
I'm fine with that. I'd love to.
I'd be supportive of that because that would actually save us some money.
Just don't make a dollar coin the same size as you make a quarter.
I
was all ready to carry the Susan B. Anthony coin dollars.
Yeah.
Okay. But then they made them the same size as a quarter. And it's like, well, that's stupid because you reach into your pocket and you think you're handing somebody a quarter and you're actually handing them a dollar. Okay.
You know, I can't even tell the difference between a dime and a nickel.
You're really trying to kill the poor man. You know, we got shows to do before he goes on vacation. So,
but I'm addressing.
He's gonna keel over.
I'm addressing the first question now. Okay, you keep throwing more stuff at me.
You got any change on you?
No, because I'm wearing gym shorts.
Okay. I thought it'd be fun to pull out a couple and see if.
Does he want to look at my penny collection at home and rolled nickels and rolls of dimes?
Do you know what a roll of dimes
and
is?
Quarters that I collect.
Have you ever seen a roll of dimes?
It's in a paper, right? Kind of like.
Yeah.
My dad.
Why do they do that?
My dad has.
Oh, your dad has. Okay.
Stores has them in plastic, but mine are paper. Yes. But anyway, the way you explained it, right? And I'm learning. The whole wallet thing is safer than what Levi does.
Generally, yes.
From
both fronts. From him swiping his debit card at a store.
From being connected, from fraudulent people.
Yes.
It's safer to do the cards than it is what Levi does. So it doesn't make sense for me. If Levi's going to do the cards, it doesn't make sense to not do it the safer way with Google. If you're going to do it that way, I would do it. I would choose personally. I'm not going to do either one, but I would choose the safest one. And he's choosing not to do the safest one. That doesn't seem like a good decision.
That's a
On-
very
on
kind.
my
That's a
point.
very friendly
That's where
redneck way to put.
Yeah, that's where I'm
that,
coming
that
from.
argument. Okay.
Okay. If
Because
you're going to
the other side could have been, I'm going to bash his head in because
if
he
you're
doesn't know the
gonna
difference
use
between
that-
a dime and a nickel.
No, I'm not going there. That's fine. I know he doesn't because his kind are working the cash registers and they don't know how to make change when I talk to them anyway.
Well, I'm sure they could probably.
There's one young
on
lady-
the registers. They could pull up pictures of.
There's
what
one
the
young
coin
lady at
should be that you-
Fazoli's that can do it, and she was very offended when I asked her.
Yeah.
I went old white man on her, and I said, "Now you're going to be all right, right? If I hand you a $20 bill, you can give me change." She goes, "I know how to do money," and now I see her all the time, and we're good friends. But she was offended, and I'm like, "There's a lot of your people though, your age." She goes, "I know." She goes, "I know," and she goes, "I don't like them at all." She goes, "They give the rest of us a bad name." And I said, "I like you a lot," and so now we're on a first name basis when I go to Fazoli's, and I'm disappointed when she's not working at the register.
Well, what do you think about getting rid of cash? I mean, do we still need it? Isn't it antiquated?
I don't want to see it go.
Why?
I like the feeling of physically holding my money.
So, any idea, Levi, if you were just going to guess, the 2023 currency operating budget of the United States of America, okay? The United States of America has a line item in our federal budget, currency operating budget. So this is the money that we set aside every year, the money to manage currency, move it from point A to point B, to print new currency, to pay all the people that are involved in the printing, transportation, and production of currency. What do you think the United States spends in a year in 2023 on currency? Our currency operating budget. So this does not count digital payments, okay? This doesn't have anything to do with those. This is just your cold, hard currency, your coin and your paper money, your greenbacks.
Maybe a couple trillion, or is that too far-fetched?
Couple trillion. Lance, any guesses? Well, okay, but maybe for perspective, I guess it wasn't totally fair to Levi. We didn't tell him like what.
1.5 million. How about that?
Whoa.
Well, I'll
Okay.
go 1.5 million.
The
No, that's pretty far.
We're gonna play it like The Price is Right. If you're over, you lose.
Money.
So I'm going low, so I know I win.
So you came up with the rule after Levi already guessed. I will say that you're too high, Levi, but also in fairness, like we didn't really give Levi any perspective of what the federal budget looks like on an annual
Am I
basis.
extremely low?
You're extremely low. Levi is too high.
It's still in the millions, though. Yes?
So we're both
more.
off.
Billions? It's got to be billions. I know it's not true.
No. It's still in the millions.
Yeah, it's in the millions. Right. Which is a drop. I'm sorry, folks. That's a drop in a bucket.
$931 million a year.
Okay, so what? That's a drop in the bucket to the GDP, and it's a drop in the bucket compared to the national debt.
Well, what can we do with $930 million
Not very
a
much.
year?
That's my point. Not very freaking much.
Could we do anything that's more valuable than what we do with cash?
There's 330 million people in the United States. You know what you could do if you dropped the cash? You give everybody $3.
Hey.
Everybody in the United States gets $3, and you do away with cash.
How'd you give it to him, though?
Huh?
How would you give it to him?
I don't know, but that's what you can do with it. You understand what I'm saying? That's how much
the paper money.
That's how much money you're saving. Okay, that's what the real cost is $3 to every American.
Mm-hmm.
Every man, woman, and child in the United States gets $3. That's not a cost savings.
Yeah.
That's nothing that's going to do anything to move the needle to help the economy in any way. So it's a moot issue to be discussing.
So anything that's under $1 billion in the federal budget doesn't deserve discussion anymore because it really doesn't have any material impact on anything.
Does it?
Well, I'm asking.
$3 per American citizen?
But
Is
how many
that
people
really-
actually think of it that way? Because our legislators do argue, do they not, all the time about things that, well, are we going to allow $10 million to go to this research initiative? And it's like, why are we, should we even be letting them debate that?
No, it's a waste of time.
Because it sounds like a lot. To
It's a
you, me,
waste
and
of-
Levi, it's a lot of money.
Right, but it's a waste of
But
time.
it's not a lot of money across 330 million people.
Not when you're talking about how many trillion in debt are we now? I quit looking because
Like 30, I think.
it's over that. It's over
30, 32, 33.
I quit looking in the 30s. I figured it was in the 40s now. I'm not being a very good public teaching entity right now.
So
I quit looking.
according to the national debt clock.
Yeah,
we're at $32 trillion.
32.
$32.68 trillion, which
30
Levi,
what? 36 or 32?
32.6, which Levi, just for your perspective, that means your share, you Levi LaForge, nobody else, your share of the national debt is $97,000. You Levi.
And you're going to argue over $3 a person when the average person owes $100,000.
Well, I think there would be some people that argue that every penny counts, right? We still have pennies.
Not even this person who saves pennies
is going to argue that
is going to argue that.
Oh, today's been a good show, folks. If nothing else, we got the guy that saves pennies to admit that they're worthless.
No, I didn't say they're worthless.
But on a national level, the penny is worth.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not worthless
to me. The penny costs
me.
way more than the penny is worth. But
you know what?
Can we get rid of the penny?
If I go to the bank today, okay?
Yeah.
I've got $4 in pennies that I can change.
Yeah.
That's $4.
You can get a McChicken.
Well, but I thought $3 was irrelevant.
I can get a McChicken and small fry.
Well, then why can't I have my $3
and have
for the cash that I don't use?
Huh?
Why can't I have my $3
That's
for
your
the cash
choice.
I don't use?
That's just like if you go to private school. You want to pay that. That's your choice.
That's your choice.
That's school choice. That's your choice of money.
Choice. Got it.
That's your choice of money.
Choice.
Right. So what are you going to take? Why are you going to take away my choice?
So
because you don't use my choice.
Could we at least be okay with eliminating the penny? I mean, why not? It's simple. Federal law, you can't price anything other than in 5-cent increments. So there is no penny because there is nothing that can be priced in that range.
That's fine with me because I have a lot of them. And if you get rid of the penny, the ones I have become collectible and it becomes more valuable. No, so I'm all for that. Yeah.
Anybody that has pennies, they're still worth a cent. You know, we're not devaluing any pennies in existence.
I'm all for it. No, get rid of them because then
any new pennies, no more new pennies. You okay with that, Levi?
Then my pennies become collectible.
They've been debating that, haven't they, for like 50 years now or something?
Yes. Yeah, okay. That's not a new thing.
Can't seem to get that
affect
done,
me.
Though. That's right. Well, because what do you do when you get change?
I give it up to my dad or somebody else who actually uses it. No, he hates me. He's shaking his head.
I just like to point out that I think I've been on your side more this show, Levi, than Lance has been. I mean, you've said a few good things, but you've also caused the poor man's blood pressure to skyrocket 2 or 3 times.
It's okay. It's what's wrong with their generation. But that's
change is worthless.
Right. Change is worthless.
Well,
go ahead.
With prices.
With prices the way they are, is change actually worth anything?
Exactly.
So once a month, because I use cash.
Maybe 25 cents.
So when I have cash, I spend cash all the time. So I get a lot of change. So every month when I go to do my banking, I probably take $10 to $15 worth of change to the bank every month that I've collected that month. So $15 is worthless.
That's just a normal meal. You get it. Sure.
Well, the comeback that you want, Levi, is that you didn't get
Levi,
change.
Every month, every month, Levi. I'll quit saving my change, Levi. If you hand me
$15 a month,
$15 the first of every month. I'll quit saving my change. Because you just said $15 isn't mean anything.
Well, I guess it just has a lot less value than it did.
Levi, the comeback that you want to use, okay, or that you should be thinking about using is that if you pay digitally, okay, so let's say you and Lance walk into a store and the total price is $9.60, right? So Lance pulls out his $10 bill. Here's the $10 bill. How much change does he get?
He doesn't know. See, he doesn't know. Told you, he doesn't know.
It's $9.60.
You said how much? $9.60.
40 cents.
40.
So they're going to hand him back.
I guess I didn't
how would they give me the 40 cents?
We're going to get into that.
Oh,
they're going to give him a quarter, a dime, and a nickel. Well, they should.
Is that 40? Is that 40 cents?
How much is a quarter?
25.
Okay, how much is a dime?
Oh gosh,
10 cents.
10.
Don't help him. He doesn't know.
So what's 25 plus 10?
35.
Okay, now we need how much more to get to 40 cents?
5 cents more.
Which is a
nickel? Right?
Yes.
Do you hear that? That's a nickel?
Is that a nickel?
I did it.
He doesn't.
I did it.
But he didn't
I gave you the answer,
right.
but
You led him through that answer because he didn't know.
So anyway, now that Lance has waited an extra 5 minutes for the person that doesn't know how to make change.
I do it every day.
To give him the money that he's owed back, Levi comes up to pay $9.60 and pulls out his debit card and swipes the debit card, right? How much change do you get back?
0.
Right, because you paid how much?
The exact amount.
The exact amount. So did Lance, because they gave him his 40 cents back. So is that money at the end of the month that he's going and cashing in his jar extra money, or is it just a way of savings? And if it's a way of savings, which is a totally valid excuse, because I used to do that myself, why don't you just have your bank round up your change from every transaction and put it into savings automatically, because that can be accumulating interest that whole time that his money's sitting in the jar. The other thing is, if you want to argue on the side of cards, right, or not using cards, probably the single best argument is the small business argument. Most small businesses eat processing fees. So if they charge Lance $9.60 and they charge you $9.60, Lance's $9.60 more of it went to the small business than your $9.60 because they had to eat processing fees.
Yeah, but a lot of places aren't doing that anymore.
Yeah, a lot of them attach a processing fee now on top.
So when I go eat at the local Mexican restaurant, I get it cheaper than you do because I pay cash, and so they take the 3% processing fee off my bill.
And see, I watch all that, Levi, because the difference in when I pay with a check, because I don't carry cash, or card, is if my credit card points are worth more than the processing fee, then I'll use the card. But if I'm getting charged a processing fee, then I probably won't use the card. But are you, how many people are doing that? A lot of people are just paying the processing fee.
Which is why if you use cash, there's no processing fee, at least so far for cash.
Well, there's the taxpayer processing fee, which is $3 a person a year approximately. Which I suppose we should add up what the processing fees are for credit cards, because we compare those and see.
See, there you go.
You know what I mean? That'd be a future show.
That's a future show.
Levi's like, hey, I'm hungry. I got to get out of here, go use my debit card to buy that key fob so that I can be convenient and then go get my fast food. All to make it in work in time so that I got more money to put in there.
Because I got to earn money to pay for all the stuff that I'm going to pay for.
That's right.
Well, we had this show because True Chat has a mission, and that mission is to educate people by providing honest, open, and respectful conversations. And I'm not sure Justin was real respectful in this one. He was attacking everybody, but
never.
We tried, to be respectful today. And however you pay, all right, just glad that I'm glad you're helping the economy and out there spending your money, because that helps all of us. So if your family and friends like to hear the show, tell them they can find us on Spotify, Overcast, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, and everywhere podcasts are found.
The State of Us releases new episodes on Tuesdays and Thursdays, first thing in the morning. Those are available as a podcast. Those same episodes are heard on the weekends on AM and FM radio stations across the United States and parts of Canada. For The State of Us, I'm Justin T. Weller.
I'm Lance Cash Jackson.
And special thanks to our recording producer, Levi LaForge. Thank you to editing producer, Bradley Butch. And of course, to our audience, whether you pay with cash, digital, or you just don't use money at all, we really appreciate you tuning in. We'll see you next time. Be the change. Be sure to check out our website, thestateofus.org, for books, articles, and all the ways to tune in. thestateofus.org.